Jimmy Kimmel had some thoughts about the Omicron variant, saying experts are hoping it ends up like the second season of Tiger King, where everybody talks about it, but nobody actually experiences it. Of course, the right-wing nuts have a theory on this. Their theory is that the variant is some kind of ploy concocted by the Democrats to help them win elections. Former White House physician Dr. Ronny Johnson, now a Republican congressman from Texas, tweeted that Omicron heralded the arrival of the midterm election variant. Kimmel said, "Let me get this straight, Dr. Ronny. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi developed this variant to encourage Democrats to vote by mail. Is that how it goes? Seems like maybe you're giving them too much credit. You think Democrats are that organized? They can't even get Joe Manchin to support maternity leave. I don't think they're creating viruses." Set your DVRs or whatever we do now. They're streaming. I don't know. Somehow watch tonight as part of Jimmy Kimmel and Norman Lear's live in front of a studio audience series. Tonight is Different Strokes, starring John Lithgow and Kevin Hart. And then it's The Facts of Life with Gabrielle Union, Allison Tolman, and Catherine Hahn, which will surely upset Sarah Silverman, as Catherine Hahn puts on Joe Face to play a teenager. Catherine Hahn, clearly not a teenager. Sarah Silverman is outraged. The big news of the day, Netflix has announced a comedy festival coming to LA in 2022. Before I tell you about it, yes, it's huge. Yes, it's the big story of the day. But, pet peeve, almost every news organization that covered this story just spit back the press release, which ignores this was announced in 2020. I told you about it. There was going to be a huge Netflix comedy festival in 2020, but then there was a pandemic. It's this whole story. I don't want to bog into it now, but there was this thing. We had to stay home for a couple months. We all had to get vaccinated 1, 2, 3 times. Don't worry about it. Just trust me, that happened. So I don't know why everybody is acting like this is new. It's cool, but they tried this already in 2020. Netflix is a joke. The festival coming to LA in 2020. Some of the names: Kevin Hart, Amy Schumer, and John Mulaney. Question for you. In 2021-2022, is Amy Schumer still a headline up in the Kevin Hart, John Mulaney stratosphere? She was for a while. I'm not sure she is right now. My college kids, I teach a college class, and my students were talking about that just last Monday. But I digress. From The Hollywood Reporter, Netflix is launching an 11-day stand-up comedy mega festival in L.A., featuring 130 comics, including Dave Chappelle. Netflix is a joke. The festival will take place across 25 venues, including the Greek Theater and the Hollywood Bowl. Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias will make history as the first stand-up comedian to ever perform at Dodger Stadium. Kevin Hart will play the formerly Staples Center. It's got a new name. There's also an LGBTQ plus celebration that includes Margaret Cho, Tig Notaro, Wanda Sykes, Eddie Izzard, Sandra Bernhard, and others. Here's the list of names: Ali Wong, Amy Poehler, Amy Schumer, Aziz Ansari, Bert Kreischer, Bill Burr, Chelsea Handler, Chris Rock, Conan O'Brien, Cristela Alonzo, David Letterman, Deon Cole, Ellen DeGeneres, Felipe Esparza, Fortune Feimster, Hasan Minhaj, Ronny Chieng, Iliza Shlesinger, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Jerry Seinfeld, John Mulaney, Jonathan Van Ness, Ken Jeong, Kevin Hart, Kevin Smith, Larry David, Maya Rudolph, Gretchen Liebram, Michael McIntyre, Mike Birbiglia, Mike Myers, David O. Russell, Nick Kroll, Nicole Byer, Patton Oswalt, Pete Davidson, Ray Romano, Seth Rogen, Theo Vaughn, Tig Notaro, Tim Robinson, and Tina Fey. You know how many comedians that is? I had to stop 4 times for oxygen as I read that off. I did edits and I cleaned it up. Hopefully you didn't notice. But that's a lot of names. I couldn't read it on not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 Bretts, man. Bill Burr and John Mulaney headline events at the Forum, while Tina Fey and Amy Poehler will have a freewheeling conversation at the YouTube Theater. A Netflix suit says it's absolutely thrilling for Netflix to be hosting a comedy festival of this magnitude in Los Angeles. Oh, this is Robbie Praw. I have worked briefly with Robbie in the past. Robbie knows what he's doing. Robbie said, "We were so disappointed to postpone the event last spring, and our lineup of comedians can't wait to bring much-needed laughs to LA, blah, blah, blah. Chappelle will headline the Hollywood Bowl. The festival will run April 28th to May 8th. Pre-sales will be available today. Oh, my goodness. And tickets for all events will go on sale December 10th at netflixisajokefest.com. If you're in LA, good opportunity to load up. If you're in New Jersey, hey, honey, I'm going to LA for 10 days to go to comedy festival. Might be a little hard. Lorne Michaels was honored at the annual Kennedy Center Honors. He got the Lifetime Achievement Award for Artistic Excellence. Organizers put together 3 weekend update segments on stage with multiple generations of mock news anchors: Kevin Nealon, then Seth Meyers and Amy Poehler, then Michael Che and Colin Jost. Michael Che joked that attendee Joe Biden would be asleep before the end of the show. Amy Poehler poked at the Toronto-born Michaels by proclaiming that Joni Mitchell had been declared the best Canadian of all time. Not attending but making the news, Norm Macdonald from the LA Times revisiting Norm Macdonald's Bob Dole impression after their deaths. Bob Dole passed away Sunday at age 98. Before his own death, Bob Dole honored the late Norm Macdonald on social media by sharing a photo from a 1996 SNL taping that saw actual Bob Dole join forces with comedian Norm Macdonald as Bob Dole for a sketch making fun of his failed presidential campaign. While impersonating Dole on SNL, a rigid Macdonald often held tightly to a pen or pencil and spoke about himself in the third person. Bob Dole had tweeted, "Norm was a great talent and I love laughing with him on SNL. Bob Dole will miss Norm Macdonald." After losing the 1996 presidency to Bill Clinton, Bob Dole stopped by Studio 8H to do a comedy bit. Dressed in matching suits and ties, the two men traded meta-commentary about their intertwined career paths. For example, Norm Macdonald jokingly encouraged Bob Dole to run for president again so he could continue playing him on SNL. "It'll be good for me, kind of help you on the front pages, you know?" Well, believe me, Norm, running for president doesn't always keep you on the front pages, unless, of course, you take a dive off a podium. Dole then thanked Norm Macdonald for noticing when he famously took a tumble on the presidential campaign trail, an unfortunate moment caught on camera and relentlessly mocked on SNL in another sketch featuring Norm Macdonald. Norm said, "I don't write a lot of the stuff." During a 96 cold open following the podium incident, Norm Macdonald's Bob Dole repeatedly and dramatically fell off stage while making comments such as, "I'm dropping like Bill Clinton's lead in the polls." A news anchor played by Tom Hanks said, "But Senator Dole, in the latest polls, President Clinton's numbers are rising." Norm Macdonald said, "Just like Bob Dole's rising from the floor." Norm told Conan O'Brien that Bob Dole's been my hero for a long time. You know what he did? He gave me his Purple Heart. He has 2 Purple Hearts, you know, and when we were doing it, he put a Purple Heart on my lapel because he had one on his lapel. It was very moving. From TMZ, my headline, TMZ throws Lopez under the bus. What happened? Well, the debate over an artist's responsibility to stop their show amid an emergency in the crowd landed at George Lopez's feet. George Lopez was performing Friday at the Majestic Theater in San Antonio. He was not selling tacos, just doing comedy. At one point during his set, a man started falling into distress in the upper balcony to the point that the house lights were turned on. According to a video that TMZ has, in the meantime, you can see and hear George down at the stage level continuing on with his set, seemingly working all the commotion into his actual jokes, which actually got some laughs. Of course, some of the crowd felt as if George Lopez should have done a hard pause. Even more, felt it was inappropriate for him to joke about whatever's going on. TMZ says in George Lopez's defense, it does not appear as if he was fully aware of what was going on and acknowledges so much in the clips. They've reached out to George Lopez's reps, no word back, and no tacos. Looks like everybody's heading out on tour. From Jim Gaffigan Twitter, announcing 2022 shows, ! Details at jimgaffigan.com. And from John Mulaney Twitter, announcing John Mulaney from scratch, coming to a city near you in 2020. Tickets go on sale Friday. Pre-sale tickets available tomorrow, Wednesday at 10 a.m. with the code BELLS. Interesting code there. The tour kicks off March 11th at Mohegan Sun in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Caps off at July 14th in Chicago. Interesting move for somebody about to be a father for the first time. I guess you could duck out and do a comedy show for a couple hours, fly private, and get back home, I guess. Today's Daily Comedy News is brought to you by All Pro Lines. That's the podcast I listen to second every Tuesday morning. First one, Daily Comedy News. Why? I QC the show. What if I blow an edit? What if I don't label the file? You know, every now and then I publish an episode and it's labeled DCN December 7th. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to give it a proper title. So I always listen to me first. Plus I'm an egomaniac, apparently. Then on Tuesday, All Pro Lines. What's that? It's a podcast. It combines football and jokes. Here's an example. I went to Twitter's at All Pro Lines account and I'm stealing jokes for them as if I were Carlos Mencia. The setup here, did you see the Detroit Lions won their first game of the season? At All Pro Lines said, fill in the blank, people in Detroit were so thrilled. Some of the possible punchlines. Eminem called his mom. Bob Seger said, don't turn the page. The city announced the team would be treated to a Christian buffet. Think about it. From at All Pro Lines, Detroit housing prices have skyrocketed up to $2 per house. Switching teams, the last time Baltimore looked that bad, I was watching The Wire. And one more. Colts look good. Texans haven't been spanked like this since Brokeback Mountain. All pro lines, wherever you get your podcast. Just do it, man. From Variety, Weird Al returning to the road next year, much like Jim Gaffigan, John Mulaney, and the Netflix Comedy Festival. Weird Al heading out for an encore run of his ridiculously self-indulgent, ill-advised vanity tour that he's calling The Unfortunate Return of the Ridiculously Self-Indulgent, Ill-Advised Vanity Tour. I love what he's doing on this tour. It will once again focus on his lesser-known album tracks and skip over nearly all of his famous parody songs. Kicks off April 23rd, goes to October 29th. He'll play Carnegie Hall as one of his 133 shows. Weird said, I've loved doing every single incarnation of my live show, but honestly, the Vanity Tour is the most fun I've ever had on stage, so I've been dying to get back out there and torture everybody with it once again. The first incarnation of the Vanity Tour was in 2018. It was staged without costume changes, video screens, or famous parody songs like Fat, Eat It, and Smells Like Nirvana, with the exception of a short medley at the end of the night and a grand finale of Yoda. I saw Weird Al with my son. Oh, it's probably whenever Al's last proper album came out. I could look that up. It's been a while, but it was a really good show, like really good. In 2018, Al was playing deep cuts. Let's see what I know here. I'm pretty well versed on Weird Al. Let's see. Nature, Trail to Hell, I don't know. Jackson Park Express, I do. This article says Dog Seat Dog. I believe it's Dog Eat Dog. That is a pastiche of the Talking Heads and one of my favorite Weird Al cuts. You Don't Love Me Anymore. I know that one. Albuquerque. I know that one. Hey, I'm doing all right here. Every night featured a different cover song in the encore, like Cinnamon Girl, Blister in the Sun, Fire and Rain, and Girl You Want. Those are straight up covers of real songs. In 2017, Weird Al told Rolling Stone he got the idea near the end of one of his regular tours. He said, I think I was in the middle of putting on my fat suit for the 1,000th time and getting ready to go back on stage. I was thinking, gosh, next time I go on tour, I don't know if I want to be doing this. I think I need to take a break from all the theatrics. Wouldn't it be nice to do a really scaled down, low-key, casual show for the hardcore fans and just go out and be musicians? Can we get the police to do this? Can the police go out and do deep cuts? Can we get you two to go out and do deep cuts? Boy, that would be awesome. Just like in 2017, Emo Phillips will be the opening act. Weird says, he's one of my oldest friends, and I also happen to think he's one of the funniest guys in the world. I know that my fans love Emo from his appearance at UHF, and also because he's emo. He's an icon. Tickets go on sale Friday. Big week. You guys are going to spend your money on concert tickets. Go to weirdal.com for a complete list of dates. I normally would congratulate Aziz Ansari for getting engaged, but here's the deal with Aziz. He doesn't call you back. Like, say he was a nobody comedian in New York City and you had him up to your big fancy satellite radio comedy radio station when he was a nobody and he came up all the time, and then he gets a little famous, he wouldn't call you back. So I'm not going to congratulate Aziz Ansari on getting engaged, but Page 6 reports that he broke the news Wednesday night during a set at the Comedy Cellar. The paper says Ansari, who's been living in the UK, reportedly jokes that he hoped his kids would be more Indian than Dutch. His fiancée is Danish forensic data scientist Serena Scove Campbell. They've apparently been serious for some time. Back in 2019 at Radio City, Aziz mentioned he had planned to take Campbell to India to meet his grandmother. And that is your comedy news for today. You can follow this show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, wherever you get your shows. If you enjoy what I do here, you can throw $5 in the tip jar at buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. See you here tomorrow.